As many of you can tell, I do a lot of ranking videos here on this channel. However, I miraculously have yet to rank the newest title in the series, that being Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. A lot of the tracks in this video I have yet to talk about ever. I will rank the Booster Course Pass in a different video because, to be honest, thinking about ranking almost 100 tracks gives me flashbacks. Also, one more thing, the polls I have been putting out are not for this video. They're for a separate video coming down the line. With all that said, if you do enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, and let's dive into ranking all 48 original tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 48, Water Park. Putting this last on the list really sucks because this track has such a great theme, but the execution was just terrible. A track like this should feature multiple rides that you get to race on and interact with, but instead it's just a bunch of easy turns and showcasing the return of the underwater mechanic. 47, Ice Outpost. Overlapping paths, a few shortcuts, and a gliding section towards the end. That's literally it. It's a very simple track that lacks something to make it interesting. I also find the shortcuts to be very weird and not satisfying whatsoever. 46, GCN Dry Dry Desert. Sand jokes aside, I can't quite put my finger on why I'm not such a big fan of this track. It's probably just a combination of the additions, nerfs, and being a desert track overall. Not only are the tornadoes gone, but the quicksand pit went from I will literally die if I'm 50 feet from this thing to oh, it's a sand pit. The ending change is really good with the water and plenty of things to trick off, however. 45, Bone Dry Dunes. I'm not a fan of Bone Dry Dunes, however at least this track has more interesting parts to it. All of the enemies are in dry form and there are many split paths to choose from. For the negatives though, the visuals and music are not too interesting, plus the anti-gravity section is janky and the shortcuts near the end are very inconvenient most of the time. 44, 3DS Neo Bowser City. This track is often ridiculed for its annoying layout, but I personally dislike it because being the Bowser's Castle fan I am, I was hoping for the remake of Double Dash's Bowser's Castle, DS Bowser's Castle, Wii's Bowser's Castle, the N64 version again, heck, the 3DS version of Bowser's Castle, but we got literally Bowser's Circuit instead, twice. The track itself is not bad, but my frustration for the no retro Bowser's Castles in this game doesn't help it out much. 43, Mario Kart Stadium. This is a really great course to start the game off with. Some boosts and ramps here and there, a cool anti-gravity section, and a glider ramp near the end. On top of this, it isn't particularly boring when you become more advanced in the game, as you can charge up a lot of purple mini turbos throughout the track. 42, Mario Circuit. Now this is the real figure 8 circuit. I love how they fixed a lot of the problems the course had with the addition of bridges, enemies, ramps, a gliding section, and of course giving the track added flair with the anti-gravity. 41, N64 Royal Raceway. The combination of the pretty visuals and the ability to charge up a lot of purple mini turbos can make this one pretty fun. It's a shame that the castle is locked away, but at least the track has been improved a lot. 40, GBA Mario Circuit. I personally really like this remake. The use of the Ultra Hands to incorporate an anti-gravity section is so clever and works out pretty well. The glider section is also a really great touch, surprisingly. This is a perfect example of what a retro track should be, keeping what the original had and building off of it. 39, 3DS Piranha Plant Slide. Unpopular opinion, but Neo Bowser City and Piranha Plant Slide are my two least favorite tracks from Mario Kart 7. Overall, only one of the many tracks I like actually made it to the original game. For this one in particular, the theme is so cool, but the layout kills it for this track. The course is very bumpy and it is really hard to chill in the rushing water with how the turns are. 38, Excitebike Arena. I really love the tracks themed by other Nintendo game series, especially the ones that have been pretty much retired. Excitebike is a really great game to make a track about, since it's a motocross style game, and clearly Nintendo knows what they're doing with the motocross tracks. I also really enjoy that the ramps and mud re-randomize every time you play the course. However, ramps and mud can only take you so far when it comes to all the tracks in this game. 37, Thwomp Ruins. Just like the Chain Chomp got its own course in Peach Gardens, the Thwomps now have their time to shine. It's pretty cool that you get to drive up the walls, and I enjoy the shortcut at the end. 36, SNES Donut Plains 3. They actually made a SNES track decent other than Rainbow Road. While the track is kinda plain, the water, better kart control, and improved visuals really complement this track. 35, GCN Sherbet Land. Despite the major improvements that this track received, it is still just okay, for this game's standards at least. These improvements are the underwater sections, better kart physics, and most importantly fixing those darn freezies, am I right? 34, 3DS DK Jungle. This track also fits in the okay tier for this game. There haven't really been too many major changes, which wasn't really needed though. The track consists of difficult turns, bridges, some cool glider and boost ramps, and of course many Donkey Kong Country Returns references here and there. 33. N64 Toad's Turnpike. This will go down as one of my least favorite retro tracks. They took a really challenging classic track that was known for its difficulty and made it really boring and easy. Not even the drivable walls and cool new cars you can interact with are able to redeem this track. 32. Twisted Mansion. Every Mario Kart game has its spooky track, and this is Mario Kart 8's version. It begins with a wavy carpet section on the walls and leads to an underwater section that features some boned fish. I didn't notice this originally, but the underwater section is marked with a taxidermy of Bouldergeist. Pretty cool and terrifying at the same time. Once you are clear of that, you fly over a fountain that I think references Super Mario 64, and then you end off with some booze and armor dropping sledgehammers on the track. 31. Toad Harbor, a San Francisco Mario Kart track. Sure, the split paths leading to a variety of things to do is really fun, and the trolleys that appear about halfway through the track is such a great added touch. 30. DS Cheep Beach. This is a much better Mario Kart 8 track than a DS track. The underwater capabilities are really cool, the physics are much improved, and the visual update looks really great. 29. Sweet Sweet Canyon. Fulton Veluza. We got a Candyland Mario Kart track. From gingerbread men to a syrup underwater section, this track has it all. The donut shortcut at the end is such a clever idea. I know it's random, but sometimes the little things make a difference. 28. Wild Woods. They gave us Maple Treeway 2.0. It's a pretty cool design, taking place in both a Toad Village and a Shy Guy hideout that are on top of a tree. You even get to be a frog and hop between lily pads. 27. Wii Wario's Gold Mine. I had one simple request for what needed to be done with this track, and that is remove the jank and fix the physics. They fixed the jank. That is where you stop. While some people enjoy the minecarts being speed boosts, I certainly do not. That section was such a thrilling ride, and now, like Toad's Turnpike, the track is less fun due to the lack of challenge. 26. Hyrule Circuit. I love the Legend of Zelda crossovers in this game. This track has you at Hyrule Castle, where you get to not only race through the castle, but collect rupees, take a Master Sword shortcut, and much more. I would appreciate this track more if it wasn't picked by the Versus randomizer and online selector all of the time. 25. Rainbow Road. In terms of Rainbow Roads, this one isn't that special. We have seen everything it gives us before. I do enjoy the space station theming, however. 24. SNES Rainbow Road. No guardrails, pretty scenery, and thwomps scattered everywhere. All you really need. 23. Wii Moo Moo Meadows. Despite it being simplistic, you can't deny that this track is charming. The cows crossing the road never gets old, and the graphics look much better than the original. The gliding section was placed perfectly well, fixing one of the weakest parts of the course. 22. Dolphin Shoals. There are so many great things about this course. On top of the fantastic music, you get to jump through rings with dolphins, drift from one pipe to the other like it's New Super Mario Bros, trick off the spine of a giant eel, and lastly circle a whirlpool with the saxophone going absolutely insane in the background. 21. Dragon Driftway. Another banger theming for a track. You are driving on Gobblegut from Super Mario Galaxy 2, as well as the course being Chinese themed. The track perfectly replicates the wavy movements and design of Gobblegut, but I wish there was more on the gameplay side of things. Really all it has are just squiggly turns. 20. DS Wario Stadium. This is another prime example of what a retro track should be, expanding on the track. It's basically DS Wario Stadium from the beginning, but then out of nowhere you go into anti-gravity mode and race on these sideways platforms high in the air while avoiding fire bars. After that, they not only managed to sneak in an underwater section, but a gliding section as well. 19. GBA Cheese Land. The GBA tracks in general got a lot of well-deserved love and attention through the retro tracks in this game. They took the cheese theme to a whole new level in this course. We got holes to trick off of, cheese sculptures, and even a pizza apparently in the background. They also added multiple chain chomps towards the end of the track, along with some broken shortcuts. 18. Animal Crossing. This track isn't much until you have played New Horizons. I can tell you from experience. The references fill you with joy and the season's gimmick is so cool. I also love how you can get items from balloons, which is literally the same thing you do in the actual game. 17. N64 Yoshi Valley. I love this track for no reason. I guess a track will get praise from me if it has Yoshi in the name. There are many paths to take, a giant Yoshi egg to avoid, and it is a major improvement from the N64 version. I just wish that there wasn't only one path that was superior to the others. 16. Cloudtop Cruise. This course combines multiple great Mario Kart courses, as well as adding new things on top of it. We got clouds from Sky Garden, bounce pads like Mushroom Gorge, and an airship similar to Airship Fortress. The airship fires you into a thunderstorm where you have to avoid lightning strikes and maintain speed simultaneously. And to end things off, you glide onto a massive vine block where there is a cool leaf shortcut to put the bow on this course. 15. Electrodrome. The only video that this track has been in is the one where I ranked every track. For that video, I kinda just listed my top 10 best and worst tracks and then just throw everything else in between. However, ranking this track in the 90s was a horrible mistake. It clearly set people off and I apologize for that. However, it still isn't in the top 10 for this game. The theme is so cool and the layout is quite fun. That's all I really gotta say here. 14. Sunshine Airport. This track is widely considered one of the best this game has to offer, but I don't really like this track to that degree. I love the fact that you get to go inside an airport as well as airplanes, plus taking off and landing with them as well. 13. GCN Yoshi Circuit. It's hard not to like this track. Between the banger remix and the fun layout, that being of Yoshi, it has become one of my favorites in this game. 12. Bowser's Castle. While this isn't my favorite version of Bowser's Castle, there is still plenty of fun to be had here. Anti-gravity is everywhere, there are fire bars and wrecking balls to avoid, there's even this massive Bowser statue punching the track and making it all wavy to trick off of. I love the music as well. 11. Shy Guy Falls. It's Koopa Kate, but remixed with Shy Guys. The booster section against the Kurt is pretty fun, and the fact that you get to glide to safety after plummeting down a waterfall is pretty exciting. The Shy Guys also bring some charm to the track. 10. Grumble Volcano. This is one of the more underrated Wii tracks, and I'm glad it made it to the game. All it received were some glider ramps and a huge graphical update, but that's all that was really necessary. 9. Baby Park. This track is so bad, it's literally just an annoying oval with items flying around and music that gives me headaches. That's why I love it so much. It is the definition of chaos and is so exhilarating from beginning to end. 8. Super Bell Subway. A subway is surprisingly a really fun course design. With this track you have many options. You can drive with the trains on the tracks, you can boost your way through the off-road, you can go up high and watch the trains pass by, or you can just ride from train to train like it's Subway Surfers. Really fun track. 7. Music Park. This is one of my favorites from Mario Kart 7. A track where you get to drive from instrument to instrument is only something one could dream of, and we got it somehow. The fact that the instruments you interact with change the music is the cherry on top. 6. GBA Ribbon Road. Another example of the glow-ups that the GBA tracks got in 8 Deluxe. The track and music are almost unrecognizable. The stage is set in a child's bedroom and there are various toys like Mecha Koopas, Jack-in-the-Boxes, and most importantly the toy race cars that model the real ones. There are also some pretty neat shortcuts throughout the track as well. 5. N64 Rainbow Road. You don't even have to be nostalgic to the N64 version to love this track. The music is great, and the course is now much shorter, allowing for more fun to be had. While the chain chomps running loose throughout the track would have been much better, you can't complain about the fun tricking that their bouncing allows for. 4. Mount Wario. This track is so loved and for good reason. It feels like you were playing Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games while you were playing Mario Kart at the same time. It is such an adventure with things like an icy peak that is pretty difficult, a dark cavern with rushing water, a dam where you have to catch the speed boost before they fall, a forest where you tend to not die by hitting a tree, this slalom section, and of course the glide through rings at the end. Such a great track. Number 3. Tick-Tock Clock. They took one of the best tracks ever and improved on it tremendously. The tricking mechanic was fit into this track so well. They turned an annoying obstacle into trickable shortcuts to take really satisfying lines. And now you can trick from gear to gear in the clockwork section as well. 2. Mute City. I love the going fast dynamic of this track. You first go into the recharge pathways to stock up on coins, and then you go wild on the boost pads like a roller coaster. It is such a fun time. I swear it would be number 1 if it wasn't for this one turn where you have to absolutely kill your speed if you want to make it alive. And on top of this, we got the legendary Mute City as a Mario Kart track, which is insane. Number 1. Big Blue. As you can see, this track still remains as my favorite track from this game. It's Mute City if it was mixed with a water slide. You gotta love the satisfying shortcuts you can take from just taking a leap of faith off the track. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments and I will see y'all in the next one. Have a good one.